Well, hopefully they don't have electric weapons. They have electric weapons. Oh no! I picked up the bulldog, Hebron. Hashtag not my shotgun. Can I have that rocket launcher, sir?
Doesn't matter.
Oh my fucking god. Pro gamer move. Take skewer with one shot and hammer with 20%.
We'll need more data to reconstruct the Forerunner sequence.
What's
That's
that?
why I solely use plasma pistols to beat the entire campaign.
You should take out Esheram with exclusively a plasma pistol.
That's my goal, but honestly that might be too easy for me. I think I need a bigger handicap.
Halo Infinite brings many new aspects to the Halo formula, so I thought we could take a look to see how well it all falls into place. Let's get into it. Probably the biggest change Halo Infinite made to the series is the open world aspect. Now I will say the open world isn't massive, but that actually works in Halo Infinite's favor because it keeps all the interesting stuff closer together. There's actually a lot of different things you can do in the open world. You can go looking for Spartan cores to upgrade your armor abilities, go seeking exclusive multiplayer cosmetics only found in the Halo Infinite campaign. You could go rescue some Marines or destroy banished settlements to gain Valor and use said Valor on FOB stations to unlock an assortment of weapons and vehicles.
Wait till I get going!
There's also the UNSC's most wanted banished targets, which are unique enemy encounters that after you defeat them, they drop a unique weapon you can use later on. There's also hidden skulls you can go looking for that change the dynamic of the game. I will say that one of Halo Infinite's shortcomings about the open world is the lack of biomes. You really only visit 3 different areas. The outside area of Zeta Halo, a banished structure, or a Forerunner temple. Compared to previous Halo games, there was so much environmental variety. There was ruins, swamps, snow levels, beaches, cities, you name it. Oh yeah guys, there's also a campaign you can go play. When it comes to the weapons in Halo Infinite, many of them play a specific role within the sandbox. Full disclosure, I'm only going to be talking about specific weapons that stuck out to me in terms of both being good or bad, and I'm only talking about these weapons through the campaign perspective. First up, we got the Pulse Carbine. I think the Plasma Pistol is better than the Plasma Carbine.
Some of the plasma guns are just still garbage.
Like the Plasma Carbine.
Yes, like that one. Here's my favorite gun, the Pulse Carbine. Ron says it's the ultimate weapon.
There isn't too many scenarios where the Pulse Carbine is useful. I mean, it's decent at taking out enemy shields, but if that's all this gun is known for, I would much rather use anything else in Halo Infinite's arsenal. Next, we got the Plasma Pistol, and oh man, have they massacred my boy. Okay, let me try this Plasma Pistol out. Hebron says will win me the game, folks. The only reason I wanted to talk about the Plasma Pistol is because it received a massive nerf. You see, the Plasma Pistol used to be able to EMP vehicles. However, that ability has been transferred over to all the shock weapons instead. I will say it can take out shields pretty good though. Lastly on my bad list is the Hydra. This thing takes forever to reload and the payout is never worth it. It just doesn't do enough damage. As for the good weapons, the battle rifle is just so damn useful. The battle rifle can zoom in, has a generous amount of ammo, and can easily clear out an area of enemies. Another amazing gun is the Sentinel Beam. This thing just melts through anything in your path. Check this out. Last but certainly not least is the Skewer. This thing is amazing. It will just demolish anyone in your path, including vehicles. Let's talk about the equipment. I'm glad to say that the equipment is all useful in their own right, and each piece of equipment complements different playstyles. First up, we got Shield Core. Shield Core just pretty much gives you extra health, which I would say is a must-have for higher difficulties. Another ability you get is the Threat Sensor. The Threat Sensor outlines each enemy, even through walls, and I would say is especially useful for locating invisible targets. The Drop Wall is deployable cover that really shines in an open battlefield. It's pretty useful because you can shoot through it, but your enemies can't. The shield does deteriorate after taking so much damage though. The Thruster Pack allows Chief to dodge in a split second, and on Legendary can really lead to some clutch moves. All of these abilities are good, but they pale in comparison to the Grappling Hook. The Grappling Hook is just the best ability in Halo Infinite, and maybe even the whole Halo series in general. There's just so many different things you can do with it. You can bring weapons toward you, you can stun enemies with it, hijack any vehicle, or just make traveling really easy for you. So who are you going to use all these weapons and abilities on? Well, allow me to introduce the enemies of Halo Infinite, the Banished. The Banished are a motley crew of different alien races, all bent on destroying humanity. Let's start off with the smallest members of the Banished first, the Grunts. The grunts usually tend to roam in packs and will try and swarm the player. They come in many different colors and armor variety, all depending on rank. Some of the most unique grunts are the Grunt Ultra, which is white and has an overshield, or the Grunt Mule, which carries weapons for the rest of the Banished on its back. Grunts will even run away from you if they're scared, or they'll even kamikaze themselves. These are some of the best enemies in gaming. Like, listen to some of the shit they say.
Let's get violent! Spartan? You there? You still mad? Oh, and chase him! Yes, let's go! One-on-one!
The Jackals act as a defensive shield bearer within the Banished, with their red counterparts bearing an even more powerful energy shield. The Jackal's cousin, the Skirmishers, are a fast, agile troop that gives supporting fire to the rest of their allies on the battlefield. And of course, we got the Jackal Snipers. These guys will make your life a living hell and are the bane of my fucking existence. The Skimmers are a new enemy in Halo Infinite that tend to roam in flocks. The Skimmers fly, they're chaotic, and they tend to carry the Brute Shock Rifle. Another flying enemy are the Sentinels. The Sentinels can take you out in the blink of an eye if you're not paying attention, because each of the Sentinels carry the Sentinel Beam. You'll find the Sentinels guarding the interior of Forerunner structures. One of the biggest members of the Banished are the Hunters. These guys have a mountain of health and are a walking powerhouse, able to take massive amounts of damage. The Hunters typically come in pairs, and if you're able to take out one of their siblings, the other one will rush you down in a fit of rage until you're dead or it's dead. Definitely one of the more difficult enemies in the game. The key to defeating them is to keep moving and to shoot their weak spots. One of the most respected members of the Banished are the Elites. The Elites are one of the smartest foes you'll come up against. They'll dodge out of the way of danger, flank you, and even go to cover to regain their health. The Elites are fast, agile, and come in a slew of different variants. The Elite variants include the Elite Minor, the Elite Major, which has a greater overshield than the Minor, the Elite Ultra, which has an even greater overshield. The Elite Ultra also carries Forerunner weapons and an energy sword if you get too close. Not to mention, it can turn invisible. There's also the Spec Ops Elites that are always invisible unless they receive damage or attack. And finally, there's the Elite Warlord. This elite has the most powerful shield and the most powerful weapons in the Halo Infinite sandbox. Definitely a force to be reckoned with. And of course, we got the stars of the show, the face of the Banished, the Brutes. The brutes are known for their absolute savagery on the battlefield. They too come in a medley of different variants. First up, we got the brute miner. These guys have minimal armor and play the role of basic foot soldiers. They usually run in packs, and if they get angry enough, they'll just straight up rush you. Up next, we got the brute captains. These guys look badass, and you'll usually see them commanding a squad of brute miners. Not only that, they carry the Ravager and have a jetpack. Also, look out for their rare white variant, which are even more deadly on the battlefield. Spot number 3 goes to the brute specialist. These guys have even more armor, an overshield, and typically spawn with human weapons. Number 4 are the brute berserkers. These guys are easily my favorite brute variant. They will just constantly rush you as soon as they see you on the battlefield. They will quickly become your biggest priority. They can even catch up to you in a moving vehicle. There's even a rare black variant, which of course are more dangerous. Spot number 5 goes to the gold brute captains. These guys carry heavy weaponry and have a recharging shield. Jackal snipers aren't the only ones you should be worried about. There's even brute snipers. And finally, we get to brute chieftains. These guys have a shit ton of armor, a mountain of health, and are easily some of the toughest enemies in the game. They'll usually be wielding a gravity hammer or a scrap cannon. These guys are no joke, and they're pretty much a boss fight in and of itself. Definitely be on your toes for this fight. There is also a rare white variant that is of course more deadly than the regular version. I wanted to touch on this next topic quickly, but yes, there are boss fights in the game. And while I'll say most of them provide a fun, unique challenge for the player, there's 2 boss fights in particular that I wanted to talk about. The first problematic boss fight are the brute brothers Tovarus and Hyperius. Tovarus and Hyperius really don't have any unique powers. They have way too much health, and there's like next to no checkpoints in this whole battle, making it feel super grindy. Oh yeah, and Bassus can fuck right off. The narrative in Halo Infinite certainly is a lot more focused and dialed in compared to 343's previous entries. Without getting too spoiler heavy, a general summary of the story is the Banished take over a Halo ring and are trying to repair it to use it against humanity. Obviously, Chief can't let that happen. The characters are likable, they have depth, they're well written, and the voice actors do a great job portraying these characters. You can tell Chief is a war-torn soldier who can't help but feel responsible for the state of the galaxy.
It's my fault.
How?
I should have stopped it. I could have reasoned with her.
Could you? It was her choice, her programming.
Was it? I don't know anymore.
The weapon is Chief's new AI sidekick. You see that the relationship between the weapon and Chief starts off pretty stiff, gets pretty rocky, but later on strengthens. The weapon and Chief bounce off each other very well because of how much they complement one another. The weapon is really light-hearted, while Chief has a very stern demeanor.
What if it's a trap? I mean, it's a trap, right? It's definitely a trap. Are you even listening?
Let's go.
Ready when you are, Chief.
The pilot is this scared guy who feels worthless in the fight against the Banished. And honestly, there are some touching moments between the pilot, Chief, and the weapon.
Wait. We're going to make it. We have to.
This is all I've got.
It's all we need. Our only way home is straight through the heart of the Banished.
We need you.
We can fix this.
Together.
Of course we can. Together.
Let's talk about the main villain of Halo Infinite, Escharum. Now, Escharum may not have been the final boss, however, he spends the most on-screen time with our heroes. Not gonna lie, I wasn't sold on Escharum at first. He just seemed like this big, angry guy who's constantly shouting threats at you. It wasn't until later on in the game that I actually saw some character development for him.
The Master Chief has returned. This should anger me, but strangely it does not. It invigorates me, gives me new purpose. What use a war, Chief, with no war left to win? I could not have wished for a more worthy adversary. Atriox, I now understand why you did not kill him on the human craft. You wanted him to witness your victory. I will complete your work, your vision.
In the end, I actually ended up liking Escharum. He was a warrior, he had honor, he had spirit, and he was just an overall great adversary for Master Chief. And now it's up to Chief to show Escharum why he's a legend.
This was never a trap. It is a test of metal. Our battle ends here.
Get him out of there.
On it.
Bear witness. Our story will become legend, told by those that survive you.
While Halo Infinite certainly is a great game, it still has its fair share of issues, such as missing mission select and lack of co-op at launch. And while I love the characters, there's still a lot of loose ends Halo 5 left that Halo Infinite never quite addressed. I also don't believe that Halo Infinite is a good entry point for newcomers. There's just so many characters and events that happen that will leave a lot of people scratching their heads without previous source material. Halo Infinite may not be the end-all be-all Halo game, but I believe it can achieve that in time. Especially if 343 keeps updating and adds expansions down the line. Halo Infinite definitely is a game you should check out, with the pros far exceeding the cons. With great gameplay, a variety of guns and enemies, and great characters, Halo Infinite definitely is a step in the right direction for 343 and Halo as a whole. If you're interested in the series, definitely check out some of the older games first. And guys, I wanted to thank you for being patient on my uploads. This video took a long time to put together. And guys, if you found this video helpful or entertaining in any way, definitely like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.